Welcome back to another episode of Building Up Your Business, the podcast. Remember, from bombs to order fulfillment, marketing to taxes, learn the stuff from the pros before you step in it. Today we have a great topic. My name is Erica Dill. I am with Operationally Up, and I will be your host for this wonderful topic. And we are here to help your consumer goods and e-commerce companies turn chaos to calm with your supply chain. Without any further ado, Heather Kay has joined us. With over 20 years of experience in human resource, Heather is passionate about helping people do what they do best and grow into their best selves. She is now the Wonder Woman of Strengths at Ready Aim Impact, where they help individuals, teams, and organizations enhance their success through leveraging their talents. Through workshops, coaching, and team building exercises, they provide exercises that amplify what's right so that companies can increase success. Heather, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Erica, for having me. Really excited to talk about the things that I'm excited about and passionate about, which is everything that you've already mentioned. So
I love it. That makes these podcasts so much better when we have guests who are truly passionate. And one of the things that I love, spoiler about getting into who people are and how they work, is I love the family that you have behind you. Like, that just really shows that you are a true people person. So I really wanted to say I appreciate that.
Thanks. No, I love this also. My kids spend every summer at sleepaway camp. And the deal was you had to have at least one picture every summer so that I could see the two of you together. So it started out the first summer, and then that's the last one, which was 2 summers ago. My daughter is now aged out as a counselor. My son, I think it's going to be his last year, but at least I get to see them and how they grew over about a 10-year span. So it's a nice way to look at it.
Oh my God, I love that even more than just looking at it. Well, it's always nice when we get to know the personal side of our speakers, because they're experts at what they do and they're people too, which is why Heather is here to talk about how to unlock the power of CliftonStrengths. And I don't know about you listeners, but I am one who's obsessed with the CliftonStrengths and how to utilize it in the business world. So Heather, please give our listeners a little info about what CliftonStrengths is.
Absolutely. So as I said, I can geek out on this all day. So as an HR professional, I've had experience with many different assessments: Myers-Briggs, DISC, Enneagram, the birds. I really like the CliftonStrengths assessment. It used to be called Strengths Finder, primarily because of where it comes from. The foundation of this comes out of the 1980s movement of positive psychology, which is really focused on what is it that we do well. So the Clifton assessment gives you that. When you take the assessment, you answer a bunch of questions, it spits out a report, and it lists your 34 strengths or themes in order from most intense to least intense. And what that does is say you are awesome at certain things. You have a natural inclination and a natural ability. When you put in the time and the effort, you can be even more awesome. So what I do as a certified coach is I help people look at their list and say, how do we clone these activities? How do we ensure that you utilize the themes that are at the top so that you can be even more successful? It's not about fixing the weaknesses. It's not about even making the weaknesses more competent. It's really about understanding, where are you naturally good? Where is your natural ability? And then working with that to make you even more awesome. So that's one of the reasons why I happen to like the CliftonStrengths assessment way better than any of the other ones.
Well, and I think in the workplace today, there's so much focus on the negative things that people are doing. As leaders, sometimes we forget to acknowledge and support and recognize people for their strengths. So this is such a great tool to be like, you're awesome in these categories, and let's like lean into that. So I agree with you. I think it's a fantastic tool for those resources.
Yeah, so and I'm somebody who loves performance management. So for me, it's not about talking about, oh, Erica, you were great at this, but not so great at this. Let's spend 95% of the performance management talking about this. Saying, Erica, you're awesome at this. How do I get you to be even more awesome? And the things that aren't working well, we can figure them out. But let's really focus on the stuff that you're good at, because chances are you really enjoy it. And if you put a little bit of effort into it, you're going to be that much better at it. So
I love what you just said about that. That is absolutely true. It's like that Venn diagram I like to do with people. What are you good at? What do you like to do? And what does the business need? And that's your sweet spot. And I love it. So obviously, Clifton Strengths Fighters is a fantastic tool for businesses to use. How can they actually go about utilizing it? You said there's some questions and it spits out a report. How does that work? What are kind of those nuts and bolts?
yeah, so anybody can go online and purchase it. I think it's GallupStrengthsCenter.com. I personally don't recommend people doing the assessment without having a coaching session. So in that case, you want to get together with a certified coach who can look at the report with you. I think frequently what happens is people get the report, they read it, and they think they know what it's saying, but they really don't. Things like empathy. What empathy means from a Gallup perspective is different than what we think about in the vernacular. Another theme is learner. Again, what it means in the real world is different than what it means from a strengths-based perspective. So you can absolutely go online and do it yourself, but I really don't recommend that. What makes the report amazing is not just what's in the report, but what your coach or facilitator can help you understand and divulge a little bit more once you're reading over what that report is. So really, I say contact a certified coach to find somebody near you, or again, we're all virtual at this point, but somebody who you typically gel well with to help you get a better understanding.
And spoiler alert, I did this with a coach many years ago. I had a team do this with the coach, and they actually recommended the book. And so for those of you who are on the YouTube, I've got the book sitting back here. So they spit out the report, and then they had us order all the books. So they sat with us and helped us understand that book and highlight things. And it's just a nice, tangible thing. But I love what you said about that, because one of my traits was competition. And my first thought was, this is not a strength. People are going to see this as a negative, because that's a bad thing, right? You're too competitive. Yes. But the coach really helped me understand and helped, my team understand that's not a negative, and actually here's how to utilize it. And so I love that coaching aspect. I absolutely agree. So what is those kind of tangible aspects that leadership is actually going to glean from this report? What are they going to get?
Yeah, so there's a lot of different things that people get from it. So first thing is that the report that's created for you is created for you. It's a customized report. So Erica, you happen to have competition as one of your dominant themes. If I had it as my dominant theme as well, what would be in both of our reports would be different, because your competition theme is influenced by your other themes. So when we say that the report is customized for you, it really is. It looks about how your top 5 all interact with one another. So for you, the recipient, you really get an understanding of who you are, how you work, what's important to you. So that's a starting point. If you are using this at work, let's say, and you and your manager are sitting down and your manager is now looking at your report with you, your manager now gets much more insight into potentially how to motivate you, what types of activities to delegate to you, how to speak with you in a way that makes it so that you really understand maybe the who, what, where, when, and why. The manager also can flip-flop and share their report with you, the direct report, and now you know how to better talk with your manager as well. So therefore, the communication increases, and what's most important is that productivity increases. I've heard people say to me, Heather, this is like a HR touchy-feely kind of thing, and it is not. This is a business solution to a business problem. If you understand how you work best, if your manager understands how you work best, how to communicate best with you, you're going to be more engaged. And when you're more engaged, you're more productive. And that's really what businesses want, increased productivity. There's also different types of reports that one can get. There's a leadership report, there's a sales report. So also depending on what roles you have, you may be able to get more specific about how your top themes can influence all the work that you are doing. And again, as you're figuring that out for yourself and your manager, that's a huge step.
Yeah, and I think that's such an affordable. I mean, when we look, I love that you put this in context of increased productivity and the real tangible value that you're going to get out of a report like this. And when you look at that, what a small cost to hire a coach and do this test to actually get increased productivity, increased communication, because we all know problems come down to one thing. Yes. Communication. So I love that you put those tangible assets. A lot of times we want to give our listeners, how can they change their business today and see that result? And I think you nailed that. So thank you for that.
And Erica, it's a really good point, because how do you change your business? Part of it is creating culture. What is the culture that you want in your business? Do you want a culture where people are open, where they're honest, where if they're doing well, they're going to share that with you, and when they're not doing well, they're going to share that with you? Do you want a culture where people really collaborate in a way that's meaningful versus just checking the boxes? And when you do an assessment like this and have robust conversations, it really changes the culture and the landscape, because now you can have some open and honest conversation. So, Erica, you mentioned competition. Competition for some people can be very off-putting, but I can say to you, hey, Erica, I feel like your strength of competition is being raised to a level where it might not be as productive. Can we find another way to work together? And that potentially feels better to you, because I'm not attacking you. I'm not saying you're a horrible person or not a great team player. I'm simply saying that one of the ways that you work may not be working quite well for me right now, and let's see how we can collaborate differently. So by having a common vocabulary or lexicon where everybody understands the underlying piece of it, it really does change how the team works and the greater organization as well.
Like you said, culture has been such a hot topic issue lately. So any tool that companies can use to increase that culture, increase communication, really build that unity amongst a team is so beyond needed. So I adore that. Yeah. So the big thing that you're here to help us understand is how to really unlock that power. What is those tips to really get into the nitty-gritty and the juiciness of what CliftonStrengths can do for us? So let's kick it off. What is your first tip to really maximizing strength finders?
I love the fact that you use the word juicy. That just makes me so happy. So I have like about 5 tips that I can offer. The first one is, we kind of talked a little bit around it, but know yourself and those around you. Everybody works differently, and that is okay. But if you don't really understand how everybody works, if you don't understand yourself, so if you don't know what you're good at and what gives you energy. So for instance, for me, my number 3 theme is called activator. People with this theme like to get things started. They jump into things very quickly. We kind of use the term of squirrel, like, oh, wait, what else is going on there? So I'm somebody who, when something new comes about, I am excited. I like to put ideas into action. I know that about myself. So that means for me, I have to make decisions on how I work during the day. So if I'm really focused on something, I turn my email off, because I know if something comes through on my email, I'm going to be looking at it and then get distracted. I need to stay focused on something and kind of tone down my activator a little bit. Now, if my manager is aware of my activator theme and sees that I am on focused time, he or she may decide, oh, I'm not going to bother Heather or IM her or text her or email her or drop by, because I know she's in that focused time and her activator may be ignited, which might take her away. Now, on the flip side, if there's a new project that is coming to be, my manager might say, oh, let's put Heather on that one because she's going to hit the ground running. So really understanding yourself, what gives you energy, what gets you excited, and what you're good at is really that first step. But then also knowing the people around you so that you can do a better job collaborating, do a better job delegating, and the entire team and therefore organization can be more successful. So knowing yourself and those around you is probably the first tip I would give.
Well, and I love that activator example that you just gave because so many times in the workplace, communication styles and work styles end up being a clash for each other. So for you, like you have to set boundaries so that you can be more productive. And what might seem like rude to others is you're like, I'm in focus time, I'm not going to respond to you. And others are like, ew, like why are you not responding to me? Then you can understand and explain, hey, this is my style and I just need to block off this time so that I can get my work done. Best example ever.
Yes.
So I'm excited. What's tip number 2?
Tip number 2 is talk about how you work. So integrate these words. So exactly.
Sorry, I beat you to it.
No, it's actually great because what I could say to somebody is, like if it were you and I would say, hey, Erica, my theme of activator kind of takes me away from things. That's why I had this turned off so I could work on something else. And you say, oh, of course, I forgot Heather has activator. But now it's not me being rude. And I don't even have to give you the context about it. You already know because we have an opportunity to really share that common language. There's 34 different themes, but if you are open and honest about it, we can really make a stronger connection about how we work. So if we talk about it and start utilizing the words about how we work, like somebody has the strength of belief. When you have the strength of belief, you make decisions based on your core. You're never going to do something that goes against kind of your inner sanctum. So
you are. Yeah.
Right. But like it's even deeper than just like, people who don't have that theme. I mean, it's like really like they will not go against that. So, if I'm working with somebody who has that belief and it's on a marketing project and I say, hey, just put in that the product does this. That person's going to say to me, Heather, absolutely not. The product does not do that. And I might say, well, but it sort of does, and it's a little gray. Yeah, that power of belief, they're going to say to me, Heather, it does not. And I cannot go against my strength of belief to say that it does. And that then reminds me, oh, that's right. Jimmy has that theme, and for him, he really wants to stick to that. And I can't ask him not to stick to that. So by utilizing the terms and the themes, it makes it easier for all of us to communicate. So talking about how you work and utilizing the themes is going to really help. So that's number 2.
Love that. So let's jump into what number 3 is.
So number 3 is, I say, utilizing the CliftonStrengths really promotes creativity. Because if you understand that everybody is coming from a different perspective, they're going to ask different questions. They're going to make different statements, and that's okay. So as I said, there are 34 different themes, but the themes are grouped into 4 domains. Just makes it a little bit easier. So even if you only look at it from the 4 domains, like one of the domains is relationship building, and another one is strategic thinking. Even if you don't know what themes are in each of those domains, you can kind of guess. The questions that are going to come out from somebody who's a strategic thinker are going to be more about data and research and searching for knowledge and big picture, where the relationship building themes are going to be more about the people and how they're affected. So if you understand that people are coming at this from 2 perspectives, we can be a lot more creative. We're not asking people to just fit into the little box here. We're saying, okay, those of you with the relationship building, bring it on. Like, what do you got? How are you seeing this? And then saying to the strategic thinkers, well, think about this from the people perspective. How does that change what data you're looking at or maybe how you're interpreting the data? So it really does open up that ability to be a little bit more creative.
Well, and then you can make sure that you have a balanced team. Like you can get all those different perspectives from your different team members.
Yeah.
And like you were saying, utilize their strengths to better the culture. I love it.
So Erica, it's a really good point. That's a really good point. So what I tell people is that people should be sharp with their talents. teams should be well-rounded. So one of my clients has all 5 of her themes in the executing domain. And she said to me, is that a good thing? And I said, yes, it's great. She said, why? I said, first of all, it's always great no matter what your top themes are.
I was
I
gonna
said,
say.
but also, I said, people know that you are the person who gets stuff done. So in the team, if they're talking about, oh, let's think about the people, you're not really going to be tasked for that part of the conversation because that's not where you excel. But the team being well-rounded allows for everybody to participate. So the fact that you brought up the team piece, I think it's important for people to realize that.
It is, and I think that's a great benefit of knowing what everybody's strengths are.
Yeah.
So what's number 4?
So number 4, and not everybody agrees with me on this, but that's okay. I really try to help encourage leaders to set goals for their direct reports, not provide the roadmap to achieve the goal. And I'll say this again, encouraging leaders to set the goals or the outcomes, KPIs, call it whatever you want, not to create the roadmap. As we've been talking about, people work differently. They can reach the same goal, they just might get there differently. And if we want to promote that creativity, if we want people to work at their best, we want to give them the room that they need so that they can be effective, efficient, and productive. Again, as businesses, we're all about productivity. We want to make sure that the goals get checked off and done. I'll say this sort of tongue-in-cheek. We don't quite care how they get there. Of course, look, we don't want dead bodies. We don't want people being rude or nasty, obviously. But look, if somebody gets that way because they made 15 calls a day and then they got three clients versus somebody who goes out and networks and meets with 4 prospects and lands 3 of them. At the end of the day, both of them landed those 3 clients. They got there differently. And that's probably because one person was much more of an influencer or relationship builder. They like spending time with people. People are naturally drawn to them. Where the first person might have been more of an executing type where they follow a script, they're very disciplined in what they're doing, and it becomes more of the numbers. At the end of the day, they both met their goals of getting 3 clients. So again, I like to remind leaders, set goals, don't provide the roadmap.
And I think it's funny that you prefaced this with like some people don't agree, because I think the reason why people don't agree is it's hard to do it that way. It is just like it's hard to be a really good leader. It's hard to say, I want you to achieve this. And like you said, as long as there's no dead bodies, right. I'm giving you the freedom to do it the way that you need to. Those people who have control issues or very particular thoughts will struggle with that. But I think that's a great example of how to use those Clifton Strength Finders to their advantage. So I can understand why people don't agree. And I can absolutely understand how challenging that might be for some.
Yeah. And also remember, a lot of the reasons why people get promoted is because they were successful in their role beforehand. So they're sitting there saying, well, I was successful, just do it the way that I did it and you'll be successful too. And while I don't discount that, and there are times that people need more direction. They need to be told what to do, and that's perfectly fine. But if you happen to be the person who is the relationship person and you're trying to help somebody who's more by the book, it's not going to work. So again, I think it's really important as a leader to set goals, provide direction, provide support, be there for questions, but telling somebody here's the way to do it may not be as effective as you think it is. So again, providing leaders to set those goals.
What a fantastic nugget of information in that. So what's number 5?
So number 5 is also, again, not everybody agrees with me on this one, but it's about providing feedback. I am a huge advocate of providing feedback. Feedback to me is a gift. I give this to you because I care about you. I want you to succeed, and I want to ensure that you know that I am helping you to succeed. So providing feedback is important. However, providing feedback on success is just as important as providing feedback when it's a little bit more constructive. And how you provide that feedback is really key. I could say to you, hey, Erica, really great job on the marketing material that you put together. It was really nice. And you say, great, thanks, Heather. Or I could say, hey, Erica, I was really impressed at the marketing material you put together. I noticed that your strength of competition came out a little bit because you set the date for having the first draft on the 8th, but you got it to me on the 5th. And when I asked you why, you said, well, I wanted to make sure that I had enough time to respond if I needed to, and then this way everything would be ready for the 9th. People with the theme of competition, it's really about setting benchmarks and then beating them. So by giving you that feedback says to you, wow, Heather realized I did a good job. She realized how I did the good job. She's being clear that it's specific to me about my strength of competition. This is great. You're going to feel more engaged and joyful. And chances are you're going to replicate that the next time. And that's my job as a manager, is to get you to be more effective and more productive. So providing feedback to people, always important, but especially when they do a good job, and utilizing the strengths vernacular or vocabulary as part of that feedback is really key to helping uplift and elevate the people who you're working with.
Well, and how personalized to feel that appreciation. Nowadays when we talk about culture and retention of team members, it's a lot about being appreciated and being seen. And so if you know what your strength finders are, if you know what your team members' strength finders are, and you're able to appreciate them on their level with their specific thing, I mean, it takes like an ounce more of energy to be like, hey, I know you're in competition and you did just that. I'm going to be like, holy cow, like A, they know me, and B, they saw me for what I did and appreciated that.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I'd be like over the moon if somebody said that to me. I don't expect that as a consultant. It's a very different world. But as a team member in a company, I'd be like, heck yeah, like this is awesome.
Yeah. One of the clients I'm working with, they've got a number of teams, and one of the teams has really integrated this, and they are seeing the productivity really increase. Their content's getting done faster. It's getting done better. The collaboration has increased. All of the things that we want to see from a business are all being increased in the positive way. And when I spoke with one of the direct reports and I said, what do you attribute this to? And she said, my manager is really clear on the feedback, utilizes the strengths content for it. And I feel, to your point, Erica, I feel really seen. It's actually funny you say that because that's exactly what she said to me. I feel seen. And again, we spend more time at work than we do anywhere else. If you can feel seen by the people that you work with, you're going to be that much more invested. And that's really what we're looking for from a business perspective. And especially for those of you who are looking to start a culture or maybe recreate or massage your culture, getting people engaged is really the foundation for making all of your dreams come true.
Oh yeah, engagement is talked about 24/7, and I love that team member is feeling seen, because that's going to keep her at the company. It's going to keep her happy. It's going to keep her from leaving and going somewhere else. And it's going to, that's the kind of the secret is sometimes companies can't afford to have top tier benefits or to pay at the maximum. Maybe they can only pay middle of the ground. But if your team members are being seen and they're feeling appreciated, that can outweigh top tier pay, top tier benefits. And believe me, it's much more appreciated than an open snack bar or, a gym membership. It's those little things that really help team members say, "Yep, I'm gonna work for that company."
Yes, I mean everybody always says you don't leave your job, you leave your manager. So if a manager can create a team where everybody feels heard and seen, that's what they're going to want to, that's where they're going to want to stay. Sorry about that.
No, it's fine. I know the perfect point to pick up at. So,
Okay, good.
I'm just gonna go back and comment about. I love that she felt being seen.
Okay. Yep.
Okay, so pause. I love that she feels that she's being seen because sometimes companies can't afford to pay top tier pay. You know, they're paying middle of the benchmark pay, or they can't afford those top tier benefits. Instead of providing a free snack bar or gym membership, employees who feel being seen and feel that appreciation are much more likely to stick around. There's so many surveys out there that have proven this to be true, that putting that little bit of effort into that has such a big payout.
Absolutely, no question about it. I mean, the old adage is you don't quit your job, you quit your manager. So if your manager is doing all the right things to make you feel seen, appreciated, and has created a culture where everybody on the team not just buys into it, but is actively involved in giving each other that feedback, both constructive and positive, the team is going to be uplifted. Everybody's going to want to be there. And the other thing that happens is people from other teams start saying, what's going on over there? They look like they're having fun and they're productive and they're happy. I want to go work there. So there's a lot that comes from, again, a small thing like providing feedback in a way that makes others feel seen.
It's contagious. I love it. And this topic has been so fantastic. And I love that it's so tangible and companies can do it really quickly and easy and get that momentum going. It's not something that you have to like wait 6 months to do. It's so digestible. So thank you so much, Heather. And for those of you who want to have follow-up questions or have, you know, maybe you were wanting to know more about this topic, Heather is more than willing to reach out. I'm going to put her website and her email address in the description, so don't hesitate. She's happy to continue this conversation. Heather, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you, Erica. As I said, I can totally geek out on this all day long. I love this. And for me, it's really about making an impact on people, on teams. So everybody is doing the best that they can be doing. And who doesn't want that? So if there are ways that I can help, by all means, please reach out. Always happy to have some conversations.
Well, your passion is absolutely visible and contagious. So thank you for being so engaging with us today. So for those of us who've joined us for another episode of Building Up Your Business, the podcast, thank you. We are here every 2 weeks. So we're coming back at you with another episode in 2 weeks. And remember, from bombs to order fulfillment, marketing from taxes, learn the stuff here before you step in it. I've been your host, Erica Dill from Operationally Up, and we will see you next time. Have a great day.